Asot, we love you. St. Peter's need you. You help poor people understand their struggle.
My name is Veronica from the Constituency St. Peter's Painters. Well, for the past 15 years I've been living in St. Peter's, Mr. Michael has tried his endeavor best to assist and help the constituents in Painters. But for right now, we feel he needs a lot of help in the roads and other infrastructure in the area. Tourism has been a boost in Antigua, Barbuda. We could receive bigger ships, bigger ships, more ships in Antigua, Barbuda. And I think after Celeste, Mr. Michael is the second best Minister of Tourism. Kudos to Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael has played a very impressive and dynamic role in tourism for Antigua and Barbuda. No matter what, we can call him, speak to him about anything, and he'll be there for you. If it's not possible, he will tell you straight out, Veronica, I won't be able to see you today, but I'll see you another day, and he always come true and fulfill his promises. Comrades, constituents and friends, on election day, I'm asking you all to come out and give Mr. Michael your support. I know he's a man of good integrity, and I know the people of St. Peter's, we would not disappoint Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael, with God's blessing and health and strength, we will be there for you.
My name is Ickford Carr, alias Ocean. I live in Pierce Village in the St. Peter's constituency, or the parish of St. Peter. And since my time of growing up, it's the first time I've seen Pierce get transformed in terms of roads. I mean, the entire layout of Pierce Village, you can drive from block to block and actually be safe. This was done under Mr. Asot Michael, and in my 60 years is the first time that I've seen a road program that take place at that magnitude in Pierce Village. Yes, he's been very helpful to the whole society, the younger generation. I mean, Mr. Michael has been there and helped actually everyone who crosses path. That as far as back as I can remember. I mean, my mother was 97, and Mr. Michael have been a tower strength even at the passing of my mother. And I really feel proud to say that I stand behind him and support him 100%. I've seen Mr. Michael on his own persona go into his pocket and rent backhoes, trucks, clean all the derelict buildings, clean land, without even government. He's not even waiting on the government to help him. He does it totally on his own. I have seen and witnessed that in my Pierce Village, where over 60 years I have not seen any infrastructure done there. Mr. Michael has, like, people feel proud where he can know that the derelict buildings are gone, and this is something that government do, but he does it from his pocket. But that constituency, he has done a lot. He has worked a lot on his own without government getting there. We have had situations where when we call him street light, Mr. Michael go into his pocket and buy bulb for areas that are totally dark. And that's why at any day I really support and stand behind him, and I think he's a people's person, and a man who will fit in for the job to represent St. Peter. And in our constituency, Mr. Michael go from house to house, individual to individual, and personally interact with all who I've seen him come across. People want to see and feel the person who they're making their extra, who are representing them. They want to have dialogue with that individual, and he has delivered that for Pierce Village, St. Peter constituency. I can testify to that.
My name is Barbuda Jacobs. I'm originally from Seaview Farm, but I reside in Lightfoot now in Mr. Michael's constituency. Mr. Michael has done well for the constituency of St. Peter. He's one that talk with the people, listen to their concerns, and in his best way, once he can help them to achieve their goal, he always do it. At age 15, I went into the George and shoe store while I was going to school, and I went to the father and said to him, I'm looking at a holiday job. He looked at me and he said, you can work? I said, yes, I can work. Then I was really slim and skinny at the time. So he said, you can lift boxes? I said, I can lift everything. Then he said, okay, I'm going to give you a try. But within a week, while working in the shoe store, while I was still going to school, I became his daughter. He took me on like if, well, I was his blood relative. And so I got to know all the Lebanese family that is attached to the Georgian family, the Michael family, and the whole family. And I knew Asot since he was like about 9 years of age during that time. And, you know, I was well received by them. I was treated well by them. And so I watched Asot growing up, loving people, loving, you know, the black community, even though he's from another community. And he grew with that. His father was somebody that really loved the colored people also, because his father did adopt a member of the black community too. So that's Asot Michael. So he was raised watching the whole family, the Michael family, all the other relatives of his, integrate themselves into the black community, always have a love for the black people, and always willing to help them. I mean, I would think that, like, probably the whole population of Antigua, one of them in some point in time can say, well, Mr. Michael has done something for them. Because he really doesn't care about the politicking, whether they belong to any party. As long as you go to him and he can help, he's going to help. And he never asks you which party you back or what of that. He don't do things like that. They will look back at the legacy and they will always remember the name Asot Michael, because he have left a mark in so many areas in the country, and even within the Antigua and Barbuda. And yes, there will always be the name Asot Michael calling, always. Constituents that are still on the fence, I'm asking everyone in St. Peter constituency to give Mr. Michael a chance, because whatever Mr. Michael can do for anyone, whether it's on the ALP side or UPP side, Mr. Michael help everybody.
First of all, my name is Walson Dibbo Williams. I was the head coach of the Parliamentary football team. Asot has done a lot for the Parliamentary football team over the past 16 years. He has been sponsoring the Parliamentary football team, and he has been very generous to us, very kind to the Parliamentary football team. I just want to say personally, for me, I have to talk about it, that firstly I have to thank God for me being here, and secondly, I really want to thank the Honorable Asot Michael, who take very good care of me during my sick time, and I'm very I just want to say a very heartfelt thank you to him for his contribution, the contribution that he has made to me when I was on my sick bed. Parliament has been voting for the Antigua Labour Party from ever since. You talk about Donald Shepherd, you come down to Joseph Myers, you come down to Langford, Germany, and now it's Asot Michael. Right? We are the garrison of the Antigua Labour Party. The Antigua Labour Party has never lost in the St. Peter's constituency. All right? And a lot of people go around and say, oh, Param people, because I can speak for Param, they don't have good attitude, they love hands out. We have been getting nothing from the likes of Shepherd, from the likes of Mr. Myers, Mr. Jeremy. Now Asot is here doing, and we still voted for the Antigua Labour Party. So if there's a situation that Asot come, he's a different person, he have different personality, he loves to help people, and he's helping people, I don't see a problem with that. And I think that the St. Peter's constituency should be looked after especially by the Antigua Labour Party, because we are a garrison of the Antigua Labour Party. I don't 10 years on the UPP, nothing has done for us under the UPP, but I'm under the ALP. I'm expecting things to be done in the St. Peter's constituency, because we have stand tall with the Antigua Labour Party over the years, in spite of what, and we're still standing tall. But you have to look very closely at our constituency in terms of infrastructure. Just in general, Asot has been fixing the court for over the years, all when the UPP in power. He's doing work on the court, fixing up the bathrooms, fixing up the stands. He has done a lot of work on the football field, I can tell you. A lot of work on the football field, fence the entire surface, level the field, bring in a lot of topsoil and level the field. He has done a lot. I'm not going to sit here and say that he has done everything that we need him to do, but I know for a fact that he's been trying very hard to uplift the constituency, and he's still trying hard to uplift the constituency. And with the support of the Antigua Labour Party, we are looking forward for St. Peter's to be uplifted after this election. We have been able to take a lot of players from off the street, and because you know what sports can do as it pertains to keep people active, to keep the youngsters active in the community. We can say that you can look around Parham and there's not a lot of young people get in trouble and going to jail and stuff like that. They're into sports. We keep them active. We are keeping them active. At time to time, we have also not only the overseas players, but we have invest in those local players also. And I think Asot has been doing a tremendous job with our young people as it pertains to sport, the Parham Football Club, because he is the one that injects in the Parham football team for 16 years now. Over and over, he has been doing it. Okay? And I just want to say that, yes, he has been doing a fantastic job, and for no doubt, Asot will be re-elected come March 21st.
My name is Barbuda. I live in Piers. For the over 40 years, I can say Piers has been developed. We have water, we have better roads. There's a lot more need to be done as in terms of our clinics and our courts. But he also needs the help. And we, the villagers, also need to play our part and build up our community. As a person, what I like about him, he's a man that gets things done. He's straight up with you. If he can do it, he's going to say he can do it. If he can't, he's going to get help. And his dedication, his love towards the people of St. Peter's. Stories are too numerous to mention. The help, the dedication, the commitment, especially for my grandmother. When she used to work at the Betty Soap Estate, his father, they have done a lot for this country and has contributed to this country. For the young people out there, I would tell them, let your conscience be your guide. You have lived in the constituency. You know what he has done. I will say on the 21st, go out and vote for Mr. Michael.
Well, my name is Andrew Gardner, and I'm from Parham Town. And personally speaking, I think Mr. Michael has done a lot. I think he has certain impact on the whole structure and project of the community. I think that he have done a lot, enough to be continuing what he's doing for the community, to be honest with you. He have built young people. He have sent a lot of people to college, to university, and I think that is the most important thing that he have done, personally for me, in terms of helping youths to further their education. What else can you expect? I would prefer him to do that than anything else, in my view personally. I can say clearly that I think when I see the best of Mr. Michael is when the UPP was in government. I thought he displayed some very good, he's a true man that he is, because clearly that he was in government and he still would have tried his best to see what he can do for the community. I know that he have financed a couple of things in the community that personally that we had done, and I think clearly that that to me would have made me have a lot of confidence in him by seeing him displaying that kind of quality of a man that he is. And clearly, I would say that coming into government now, I believe that that still St. Peter's is not being looked after properly, and he's still going in his pocket and still doing things for the community, even though the Labour Party is in government. So that demonstrates that he wants to see Parham improve and the whole of St. Peter's improve. And I see Mr. Michael as a man of his word, and I just believe that, if he's given the material, given the tools to work with, the resources from the government, I think great things can happen in St. Peter's. And I'm going to work along with him, and as a team, and we put something together and try to improve on the infrastructure in Parham Town. But clearly, I think if I was going to say anything about the man that I know, Mr. Asot Michael, I would believe that in the 10 years of UPD government, when he have never walked away from the people, he have stayed with us, he have stood with us, we have grind salt together, and the good days and the bad days, and I've seen that, and I believe that he have the interest of the community in heart. I think that he have demonstrated over the years that he is a man that, even though he doesn't have the resources, at least he will find a way of means of getting it done. And that I mean, what can you ask of him? So you're quite right, and I believe that the man have certainly shown that over the time that he can improve on what he have done, and we can only get better. We're not going to go back. I know presently we're doing some work in the farm, and we just hope that we can continue that. And there's always lots of work to do in the community as well as St. Peter's. So I think we're going to stick to him. We're going to put him in again, and we're going to try again, and we're going to keep going. But we all are going to work together. We all going to work together. This is not just Mr. Michael and what he's going to bring to the table, but St. Peter's and the people in St. Peter's have to rise to the occasion, and we all form together, community effort and put together and see if we can get some of these projects completed. I think the people of Farm can look forward to see in the future of Mr. Michael that he continue to improve and help our youths to further their education in the university overseas. I know that personally, and I'm going to stress in this. I believe that is one of his greatest achievements in improving the lives of many young people by sending them, helping them to get scholarship, helping them, funding them personally to go overseas and further their knowledge. But I think, in terms of the Palm itself, I think there's a lot of good things that are going to happen in St. Peter's. I can see that. But I believe, for me, how I see the man, I think that is his greatest achievement, to really improve the lives of our young people and in the education department. I honestly believe that.
My name is Raul Reynolds. I live in Pierce Village. Especially as of lately, Mr. Michael has spent a lot of time ensuring that he meets with every single one of the individuals in the community, to the extent that he knows that St. Peter's is a winning constituency for him, and he make it his policy to ensure that he go and listen to the flight of the people. Every single one have a different story, and he make it his duty to ensure to get to know what they are, who they are, and what it is that he can assist with, even from whatever little areas and so. And you might be surprised to know what you can learn in just listening to them. And you can honestly see his feelings. And that goes with the motto of what he have on the shirt, Asot Cares. And that is truly a reflection of the person. With the football clubs, Mr. Michael has personally get involved with both in Piers and in Param by full sponsorship of the things that these teams need. Param for sure, the actual football team is named Asot Arcades. In Piers, he has even donated, and also the gears and everything for them. He have done work to fix up the fields, whatever it is that's needed to push in sports agenda. In whatever aspect of life that happening inside the community, Mr. Michael has made sure that he is personally involved. If something happens and in the community and he doesn't know about, he does get upset for that, because he figures that he's a person, the buck stopped with him in reference to assisting his community. As he himself say, he's there for a reason, and he do whatever it takes to ensure that the people way of life, whether from areas that do not have electricity, water, the basic necessity in life, he ensure that these things happen. Individuals have a problem with their kids not be able to meet certain things to get to school, and so he ensure to put necessary things in place for that to happen. Mr. Michael is one of the most caring person that you'll come across. He's a very comprehensive person when it comes to dealing with his community. He cares a lot for the community, and strangely enough, he's one of the few politicians who actually care about genuine people. It's not about material things or nothing like that. If you know Mr. Michael, you know he's not in it for the money. Because the fact is, he have it. He doesn't need it. He doesn't gain anything from the political spectrum. Right? So you have to wonder, what exactly is it? It's just a genuine caringness, and the nature of him, I guess it stems from his family line, because when you check through from their family has have a long history of helping people. And I think his calling is just to ensure the livelihood of individuals are better, and he basically get a high on knowing he's able to assist and help anyone at any time, and you can always count on him. Presently, right now, especially during this whole political scene, there are hundreds of people that line up to see him daily, and he hasn't turned away one person. He makes sure that he ensure and see everyone. There's a couple of days as chairman, I tell him he have to cut off just for the purpose of his health, and he chose to go against that and said no, he can't. He have to see them, and I respect that because that's just the nature of him. He's a true man of his word. He's a caring person. He's a man who loves people. That's his nature. And just as his shirt says, Asot cares. There's a lot of projects that Mr. Michael wants to get started and get done in the community, but a lot of them have to do with the assistance from the government itself. And you must remember there at one time when we were in the opposition in which we have not got nothing done from the opposition, nothing in St. Peter's from the time Labour has lost the election before. Everything that was done was purely done from Mr. Michael. Lately, the few things that he is trying to push and trying to get done now, which would be maybe in a matter of months, the health clinic and everything, even the refurbishing and the redoing of the Parham police station. And so these are some of the things that he have in mind to make sure that these things are done. The clinic is there, the schools are there. He want to ensure that even to set up like a home for the elderly in that area. He just basically want to make sure that the livelihood of St. Peter's would be like almost like a city, so to speak. Right? That's his forte, that's his stuff, and he just would like to know that anything that he represents is going to be something that people can think of. In a nutshell, if you say his legacy, and right now I think that's what he wants to go on to try and do to ensure that in the end, it should be spelled out. If you're supposed to put a monument of Mr. Michael with what he has done, the way to sum it up is to simply say, Asot genuinely cared.
My name is Keith Roy Henderson Benjamin, better known as Caesar, and I'm actually from Parham. Before I even mention some of the things I've seen Mr. Michael do for the constituency, I have to let the nation know that I've known Mr. Michael for a number of years, long before he was involved in elective politics. When he was the chief of staff over there in that building next to the Prime Minister's office, well, next to the Parliament building, that was actually the Prime Minister's office, and I was a security guard there, so we had lots of interactions as an employee there, and I grew to know Mr. Michael as a person who is very passionate about assisting poor people. I think that's the legacy that is going to be left by that goodly gentleman. Does not like the idea of seeing poor people suffer, as it were. So he would, from time to time, engage in assisting poor people to lift their living standards, raise their living standards, and will really go out of his way. I've seen him done a lot of work throughout the community in terms of clearing some of those areas that could be considered areas that could harbor criminals and criminal activities and so on, like the bush, cassie trees around. From ever since he came to St. Peter's, that was one of the things that he has always been engaged in doing, cleaning up the constituency and allowing it to look like the old Parham that we know, the first town on the island. And I suspect, given an opportunity, Mr. Michael would really try his best to develop Parham again to look like what we knew it to be. I believe, in all fairness, and those who will have rubbed shoulders with Mr. Michael, whether you are Labour, UPP, DNA, Go Green, whatever, knowing who the man is, I think he's by far the best choice for St. Peter's in terms of a representative. You're looking at positive representation. That's what we're looking for. And I think Mr. Michael really does fit the bill. And I would go on record, I'm not afraid to say it, that I believe come March 21st, next Wednesday, that people really should go out in their numbers and give Mr. Michael their full support for the continued representation at that high level and continued progress and prosperity with Team Labour. Asot Michael is definitely the action man, and I want to suggest to you that Asot is the type of person who does not see colors. In other words, whether you are Labour, UPP, Go Green, DNA, whoever, all you need to do is to approach this goodly gentleman, and for sure he'll do his best to assist you. So I'm saying in no uncertain terms that this is a good man, a man who deserves a chance to represent again. On March 21st, I'm saying go out and support the Honorable Asot Michael if you're living in the St. Peter's constituency, because he's the best man for the job. And we just continue to offer up our prayers for him, that God will strengthen him and give him all the necessary direction in his life so that he can continue the great job which he has started. Again, Asot cares for the people. Asot loves all, barring none. I think once you are a good person at heart, you would probably expect people to perhaps say negative things about you. It's just the norm. But I don't think it has really affected him negatively. I think he uses these things as stepping stones, because that will not determine how he functions. He will continue to be himself, a giving person, a loving person. So the negativity, I think, is one of those things that allows him to rise above the fray, and do what he has to do. It really doesn't matter. And like I said, he deals with everybody on the same level. It's not about party colors or politics, as it were. I mentioned earlier that I've known Mr. Michael since his days as the Chief of Staff. And that was outside of the political arena. And he was already assisting people in significant ways. So it's just the makeup of the man. It's not politics driven as some other folks, folks who offer themselves. And I think it is out of that why some would actually go about criticizing negatively, because it's just for political gain. And if you go back in history to the past few elections that Mr. Michael has been involved and offer himself for elective politics, you'd recognize that it's the same things that are being said. So it is, as it were, a regurgitation of issues from the past that they now bring it, because that's the plan, to use negative press to destabilize, to as it were, try and stop the forward movement. But in my view, and from working closely with the man, because I campaign all the time with Mr. Michael, and I see him, just rise above that. And for my money, if you really take a good look, Mr. Michael does deal with persons whom he knows to be on the opposite side a little bit differently, in a sense. When I say differently, perhaps a little bit better than those who are actually his supporters. And sometimes you get that complaint also, but it is not necessarily in a negative light. What people are saying is that Asot really does care for the people. That's all. It's not about really trying to treat some others better, in a sense, but really dealing with people, having concern for what their problems and their plight might be in life, as it seeks to address these issues. And that's the man that I know. Vote Asot Michael. He cares.
St. Peter's, your candidate, Asot A. Michael.
Many rivers to cross, but I can't seem to find my way over.
On the eve of the most important election in the history of Antigua and Barbuda, this is the Honorable Asot Michael, the representative and member of Parliament for the constituency of St. Peter. Firstly, I thank Almighty God for life, health, and numerous opportunities bestowed upon me to serve my fellow countrymen and women. I thank the great and loving constituents of St. Peter for their trust and avid support in me. I regard my responsibilities as their parliamentary representative as a signal honor. Indeed, I extend my gratitude to all the citizens and residents of Antigua and Barbuda. I would like to say to the people of Antigua and Barbuda, this is a seminal moment in the history of our twin island state. Please do not be fooled. Please, when you go out to vote on the 21st of March, you are not only voting for the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, but you are voting to protect your own interests, your children's interests, for future generations. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party was born from the working class and the struggles of the working class people of this country. And I want the citizens and residents to understand that. Although the Labour Party's philosophy was based on the struggles of the working class and ordinary men and women in Antigua and Barbuda, in order for them to achieve a better standard of living and quality of life, the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party has embraced over the years everyone, the middle class, the rich, the poor. We are a party for all. I found the people of St. Peter, and they found me. I love the constituents of St. Peter from the bottom of my heart, and they know truly that Asot Michael cares. It is not just a cliche slogan. It is indeed what I mean. For it is the wonderful people of St. Peter that fills me with the conviction that every day in politics for me is a day of work on their behalf and for their betterment. Bob Marley puts his best in song. Truth is, everybody is going to hurt you. You just got to find the ones worth suffering for. Well, I found the people of St. Peter, and they found me. I have a strong and unbreakable bond with the people of St. Peter, and they know that Asot truly cares. Today, I'm humbled to say to the people of St. Peter and all the citizens and residents of Antigua and Barbuda that once I'm re-elected, I will always give of my best. Just as I've been the representatives of my brothers and sisters in St. Peter since 2004, well, I intend to remain their parliamentary representative because I know that they will vote for me. And I'll be robust and loyal in defending the interests of each and every one of them at all times. For to serve them is an honor, a privilege, and very especially, it is personal. Notwithstanding what my detractors will say, I know that from 1997, when I was appointed by the Honourable Sir Lester Bryant Bird, the then Prime Minister, as his Chief of Staff, I worked tirelessly. And after that promising start, I was appointed a government senator. In fact, the leader of the government senate by the Honourable Lester Bird, as well as Minister of State responsible for Public Works, Communications, Insurance, Energy, and St. John's Development Corporation. I continued in this role until 2001, when I was appointed as Junior Minister of Finance and leader of the government business in the Senate. So I feel that I have unparalleled experience in the Antiguan government. For I have seen firsthand just how difficult it would be to navigate the channels of politics, which is why I decided to run for public office. For it is my dream to see Antigua and Barbuda, my beloved country, move further into the future through increased infrastructural development and more opportunities for all of its citizens. I truly believe in the future of Antigua and Barbuda and its people, and I will do whatever I can do once I'm re-elected to make it happen. At this point, I would like to pay special tribute to the late Leonard Tim Hector. For it is Mr. Tim Hector who encouraged me. He saw how hard I was working as a junior minister in the Prime Minister's office and as Chief of Staff, and he encouraged me to run for elective office. I will never forget when he spoke to Lester Bird about me running in the constituency of St. Peter. Lester Bryant Bird did not believe I could win in St. Peter. He did not believe that the people of St. Peter would vote for me over their own Lennox Western. And Lester Bird encouraged me to run in rural North. He said I have a lot of family, the Syrians, the Lebanese, friends in Rural North. But the late Leonard Timector told Sir Leicester, no, let Asot go and run in a constituency where he can help ordinary working class people, people that are in need, people that are vulnerable. For Asot, Michael has a heart of gold. He's like his father, the late Patrick Michael, and like his late grandfather, Asot Michael. And Tim Hector convinced Lester Bird. And I would like to thank him. I also would like to thank Mr. Jimmy Fuller, who also helped me to run in St. Peter, and Mr. Austin Buster George from Willikeys. I would also at this point like to thank Mr. Longford Jeremy, who was the parliamentary representative for many years of St. Peter, who publicly endorsed me to take over from him. But at that point, when I inherited the constituency of St. Peter, it was neglected for many, many years. And really no fault of Mr. Longford Jeremy and the late Joseph Myers. It was neglected because the Labour Party and the then Premier and Prime Minister, our national hero, truth be told, knew that it was a safe seat. He knew that St. Peter would always vote for Labour. And it is a fact. The Labour Party has never, ever lost the constituency of St. Peter. But I met it in a horrible, rundown, ramshackle state of disrepair. There was absolutely no infrastructure, no proper roads, no drainage. The basketball court, the football field in Parham, in Piers Village, both the basketball and the football field. There was no educational facilities. The daycare center was run down. No computer labs for the children to study and to take classes and to do their homework. But right away, before I was elected, I put my hands to the wheel and I started. Yes, I was the Minister of Public Works at the time. So truth be told, I did as many roads I could do in the constituency of St. Peter, in Vernon's, in Mary Ground, in Parham Project, in Fidges Creek, in Weirs, in Piers Village. I went to work. I remember Mr. Hilroy Humphreys went to Parliament and called me Hurricane Asot because he said I was building sidewalks and drains to every single house in Parham, even going up to Parham Lodge. But I delivered. And not only infrastructure, I fixed the basketball court. It was then the most beautiful basketball court in Parham. I got Mr. Gortoy, the contractor, to even build stands, bathroom facilities. It was first class. I also was very passionate about education, not just here in Antigua, but tertiary education. And in those days, we did not have a Prime Minister's scholarship like what we have today. And there are many, many persons who I have sent to college, and I'm proud of those persons. In fact, this morning, today, one such young man came to my home and said, I just arrived in Antigua to vote for you. I did not recognize him. He said, Mr. Michael, don't you recognize me? I said, no. Where are you from? He said, Parham. I came from Texas to vote for you. He says, I owe my education to you. You paid not just and assisted me with my bachelor's degree in finance, but also my master's degree. And now I'm working for a huge financial institution in Texas. Then I also went and built 2 computer clinics, one in Piers Village and one in Parham. We had 400 computers in Parham in 2 buildings, and we had approximately 100 computers in Piers Village. And the children went. They could use the computers free. There was absolutely no charge. I paid all of the teachers out of my pocket. I paid the teachers' salaries for both Piers and Parham every single month. Unfortunately, in 2004, my computer labs, both buildings, in Parham were burnt to the ground with every single computer. And I suffered to see those 2 buildings go up in flames. And then I remember a young man called Walston Dibu Williams. He came to me and he said, Mr. Michael, I understand you have intentions to run in St. Peter. Would you sponsor the Parham Football Club? He said the then sponsor who sponsored them for many years, Mr. Alan Gummers. Although he was the sponsor, it was not adequate financial resources he was giving the team. And if I would give a full sponsorship, I told Dibu, with pleasure, but I would like to come and speak to the team first. And I drove up to Parham, and we had a meeting on the Parham football field, and I met all of the players. All of them. Young, talented, bright, strong young men who had a passion and conviction for sport, particularly football. And they spoke to me, and I spoke to them. And I gave them a commitment that I will always sponsor the Parham Football Club. And I did so, I think, from 2002, I stand corrected, up to today. They have become not just football players, but like my own sons, my family. The same thing in Pierce Village. I remember Mr. Wesley Shepherd, my classmate from Pierce Village, coming to me and asked, would you sponsor the Pierce football team? I said, certainly. And I did the same like what I did for Parham. I went up and I spoke to them and I met them. And to this day, I've always sponsored them. So I say all this to say that I think I delivered. I have a track record. But truth be told, and I must be honest as always, after the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party lost the general elections in 2004, although I won my seat, the UPP government then, the Baldwin-Spencer administration, victimized my people. They sent them home from the port. They sent them home from public works. They fired them, Mr. Wilmoth Daniel, from public works, from the Ministry of Health, and put poor people out of work. They gave me absolutely no infrastructure in terms of roads, my clinics, nothing, for 10 years, from 2004 to 2014. My Labour Party came into power, and yes, I know that roads were not a priority at the time because the Prime Minister had to rescue the economy of this country. He inherited an economy which was on a precipice of disaster. We were virtually a bankrupt and failed state. We owed everyone. We owed the IMF, the Kuwaiti Fund, the World Bank, we owed APC, we owed Semcorp, we owed West Indies Oil Company. The government checks were bouncing. So we inherited an economy that was rescued by Gaston Brown. Abib, for example. Abib was bankrupt, and hundreds of millions of dollars would be lost. Innocent depositors was going to lose their money. And Gaston Brown rescued Abib. He came up with a brilliant plan to rescue Abib and the workers and their jobs. Also ECAB. And then he bought 80% of the Caribbean Union Bank. He saved the banking industry in this country. And no amount of credit is too much to give to Prime Minister Gaston Brown in terms of what he did for the banking sector and to pay our debts and to settle the debt with the Hadids who had sued and took in the government to the Privy Council, Antigua Power Company. And also, he bought West Indies Oil Company. He bought West Indies Oil Company, which was owned for over 35 years by private entities. And he bought it, negotiated skillfully for $30 million US, with all of those lands at Friesel. And I think after what VC Bird did to buy all of the lands from the syndicate estates, I think that is the second most important thing that was done by any prime minister in this country. I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but at the risk of sounding immodest, I think I did a good job as Minister of Tourism, Economic Development, Investment and Energy from 2014 until November 2017. I'm responsible for bringing 6 additional new airlines which now serve our country: JetBlue, Seabourn, Alitalia, Blue Panorama from Italy, Inter-Caribbean Airways, Power Dominicana, and Sunwing from Canada. It is myself and the Prime Minister who negotiated with Stephen Hunter and Sunwing and TUI in London to make sure that we brought Sunwing from Canada. I also was responsible, the Prime Minister gave me the mandate and the responsibility to extend the Heritage Keep here by over 700 feet in 2016, which positioned Antigua and Barbuda to take advantage of the Quantum class ships. The project included the dredging of over 70,000 cubic meters of material that resulted, the numbers do not lie, resulted in over 800,000 cruise ship arrivals, the most ever visited in our country last year. That is what I call growth, not stagnation. Also, we have now completed the drawings for US $60 million, the St. John's Master Plan, which will be the Caribbean's best example of an historic downtown location, modernized for the 21st century. The government allocated another $30 million United States dollars, which is 81 million EC, to construct the 5th berth, which when completed will give us the capability to accommodate the largest cruise ships that are currently sailing the seas. We can now provide affordable and safe fuel bunkering to cruise ships while they're in the harbor. Under my tenure, we also achieved delivering water back to the cruise ships. Under my tenure also as Minister of Tourism, we achieved the UNESCO World Heritage status for Nelson's Dockyard, and last year celebrated the 50th anniversary of the world-famous Antigua Sailing Week. Now, new and exciting regattas such as the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Rowing Challenge and the prestigious Royal Ocean Racing Club Rock 600 Racing Challenge is hosted in Antigua. So at the end of December 2016, we recorded the largest ever figure. I want to remind Mr. Harold Lovell, the largest ever figure for total USA arrivals of 108,652. And this was an impressive growth rate of 15% plus from the United States alone. So our efforts in tourism, my whole team, I have to give credit to Mr. Colin James, to Mr. Ricky Skerritt, to my permanent secretary, Ms. Paula Frederick Hunt, and to all of the hard-working persons that worked under my tenure. The chairman of the National Parks, Ambassador Thomas, Ms. Anne-Marie Martin. I would also like to thank Ms. Shirley Nibbs for her hard and tireless work, the chairman of the Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Institute, which we took that institution to a much higher level and standard from what we inherited in 2014. So our efforts in tourism resulted, and again, it must be said, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, as Asot Michael being named the Caribbean Best Tourism Minister of the Year in 2016. Not OECS, the whole Caribbean, and by the Caribbean Journal, which is the region's largest and most prestigious online news portal. In terms of energy, as I said before, the majority acquisition of the West Indies Oil Company, it ensured certainty and stability in the country's fuel bunkering, supply and distribution systems. We now have continued access to petroleum supplies through the Petro-Carib arrangements from Venezuela, which have proved invaluable in ensuring stable pricing for petroleum products. We have built new tanks and upgraded to the point of EC $50.3 million. Also, the 10-megawatt project with APU and PV Energy has achieved by far the greatest level of renewable solar energy penetration in the OECS, with the 3-megawatt plant at the VC Bird International Airport being completed. We also now have solar-powered street lighting, and this project is expected to see a reduction in energy demand of 55% from street lights in Antigua and Barbuda. I also would like to take the opportunity to say a few words to the Barbuda people. The Barbuda people are very, very dear to my heart. From going over there, accompanying the Honorable Prime Minister on many, many trips. And I have to give Prime Minister Gaston Brown credit. No Prime Minister have ever visited Barbuda or ever done so much for the Barbuda people like Gaston Brown. Because Gaston Brown believes that Barbuda has so much potential. He believes that Barbuda is a pristine island, clean, the environment, the air, the sea. He doesn't want it polluted, and he's committed to making Barbuda a total green energy island, the first in the entire world. But I remember when, after the hurricanes devastated Barbuda, I was one of the first persons to land in Barbuda with that Herculean military aircraft from the Venezuelan government. And I took Minister, the Honorable Melford Nicholas, and the Honorable E.P. Chet Green to accompany me. We went down with the Commissioner of Police, and we went down with support staff. When I looked out of the window, my heart was torn. Tears came to my eyes. I could not believe what I was seeing. And we went to rescue the people of Barbuda and evacuate them. And I worked tirelessly that day. Minister Green, Melford Nicholas, and myself worked tirelessly. We went to people's homes. We took people off of their roofs. We took up the army cars, the military, and went with the military to them and told them they must leave. It is for their good. But I spoke to their hearts. And the Barbuda people, you know you love me. And they listened to me. And they came with us. We evacuated them. We evacuated them on several ferries. And on that army plane, we made 6 trips that day. I also want to say that my family and myself was one of the first to contribute to the Barbuda, the Restoration Fund. And my family and myself, we donated 540,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars to assist. And I'm proud of that. But I'm appealing to the Barbuda people to please vote for your children and do not be fooled by the BPM. Vote for the Honorable Arthur Nibbs. A vote for Arthur Nibbs is a vote to protect your interests, the future development of Barbuda, and no one is coming to steal your land. We want to give those of you whose homes was devastated and you want to buy a piece of your own land, to give you title, to empower you. That is all. Robert De Niro or no other investor will get title to Barbuda land. That is a promise. And I know the Prime Minister will keep his word. So I think that this year, 2018, will be another bumper year for our country's economy and for expanding our sustainable development. And I'm confidently optimistic of the benefits that will redound to the society under the leadership of Prime Minister Gaston Brown and a new Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party administration. I know Gaston Brown. I know him personally. Our friendship goes way back and has absolutely nothing to do with politics. I met Gaston Brown when he was a manager at Swiss American Card. He was the person to give me my first credit card. We became friends since then. Yes, when Lester Bird marginalized him, Prime Minister Brown, he was not pleased. But from 2004, when the Labour Party lost the election, Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who was not Prime Minister or leader of the party, but he won his seat, and myself, we decided that nothing will come between of us, that we have a strong bond of friendship, mutual respect for each other, and that we as the 2 youngest persons in the Labour Party, we were going to put our hands to the wheel and our hands to the plough. We worked with commitment, with passion, with conviction fearless in opposition. We met nearly every single day at my home. We strategized and we made sure that the Labour Party would not disintegrate. There were persons in the Labour Party who then wanted Prime Minister Brown and myself to be expelled. And we said, absolutely no way. We are the youngest and we are the future. And we went to work. When I was one of the first persons to support Prime Minister Gaston Brown for the leadership to take over from Celeste Bird. Yes, we lost the first convention, but not by a lot. And then we decided the second convention, we worked even harder. And we did not replace Lester Bird because we did not respect Lester Bird. We did not replace Lester Bird because we felt that Lester Bird was not competent. Lester Bird is my surrogate father. But we felt, because of his deteriorating health issues, that a younger person should take over the leadership of the party and give the Labour Party a fresh face. And that's why Gaston Brown was the leader of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party when he won the convention. So, I look forward to a renewed mandate from the good people of St. Peter's. The response that my team and I have been receiving as we have canvassed door to door from morning to very late in the next morning has been remarkable. I want to thank the people of St. Peter's for opening up their homes, their doors to me, welcoming me, sometimes at 1 a.m. in the morning or later. And I say, isn't it too late to come in? They say, no, Mr. Michael, come and sit down. This is for you house. You want something to eat? So once again, the St. Peter's constituency is poised to overwhelmingly return Asot Michael to Parliament on the 21st of March, election day. I'm extremely confident. I do not want to say anything ill of my opponent. I never said anything ill about Joanne Messiah. And in fact, Joanne Messiah is my constituent now. And Joanne Messiah has promised me and gave me a commitment that on election day, and this is no lie, she called me and asked me for a street light. And she said to me, Mr. Michael, I see that you're clearing all the bushes with all your heavy-duty equipment. It's not fair that you're doing that out of your pocket and grading roads. Could you send one of the graders to cut down the bushes? Because, you know, I'm campaigning hard. And when I come home late at night, I don't want nobody to stick me up. And I would like a street light. And I didn't ask Joanne for a vote. The Honourable Joanne Messiah said to me on the phone, Asot, you know, I mean, I vote for Colin. I'm voting for you. So that speaks volumes. I will say nothing else about my opponent. For since my first term in 2004, when I was elected to serve the people of St. Peter, and by extension the people of Antigua and Barbuda, and I have done so with every ounce of strength that I have in my body. My track record speaks for itself. I have delivered. My commitment that I give to my constituents is to continue to ably represent them at all times with the same passion, the same enthusiasm, just as I've been doing for the past 14 years. And this is to ensure that my legacy will always be remembered as one that is characterized by a sustained effort of caring and my abiding love for the great people of St. Peter's, which allow them to reach their fullest potential. And I promise the people of St. Peter's this time that we will not be neglected anymore. Our street lights, our roads, our drains, the clinic in Pierce and Parham, the Honourable Malwin Joseph has given me a commitment that he is going to repair them. And then he's going to build a brand new clinic to serve the people of Parham and Pierce. But in the interim, he's going to repair them immediately. The basketball court, presently I'm repairing it. But after the election, the Honourable Chet Green have promised me that I'll get the entire court resurfaced. And also in Pierce, there's absolutely no basketball court now for the young people and the young men to play basketball in Pierce. So we are going to get a brand new facility and the same type of facilities that the other representatives get. I am going to demand equality for my constituents because my constituents pay taxes. They are taxpayers like everyone else. So they must get their equal share of the pie in terms of infrastructure, roads, water. Presently, there's no water pipes in the most of Wales, and Mr. Rodriguez has promised me that they've already ordered the pipes. In fact, they started to lay some a few days ago going up on the main road of Wales. We will deliver water every single place, even up by where Mr. Lennox Weston live, all of those homes. There's no water up there for over 15 years. That cannot be right. Those wrongs will be right. This time, Asot Michael is going to make sure that I get my fair equal share. Because I waited patiently, I was not greedy, I knew there were other candidates, there were other areas in the country that needed infrastructure, and when I was a cabinet minister, I waited patiently and I said, I will wait to get my turn. But when my turn came, I got absolutely nothing, save and except for a few roads that the Barber Green nearly a year ago in Piers. I got nothing. Nothing. No roads in Weirs, in Fidges Creek. Don't speak about Painters and Lightfoot. We have costly trees growing in some of the roads, and this is no exaggeration. In Painters, you have craters in the roads filled with water when it rains, and the people cannot come out of their homes. So we need infrastructure. And I also personally commit, and I want to thank Prime Minister Brown and the Cabinet for leasing the St. Peter's Constituency branch 3 acres of land, which we're going to put on that trust, managed by responsible persons in St. Peter's. And I have already earmarked out of my personal funds $2 million EC dollars to build a state-of-the-art modern facility, a multifaceted facility which would comprise an institution of education in terms of computers, in terms of classes, night classes, and also a state-of-the-art daycare for the babies and the young children, and also for the elderly, where the elderly can go, get a hot meal at lunch, being taken care of, play some dominoes, chess, worry, whatever. I have committed $2 million EC dollars. And I know I have enough contacts and networks that I'm going to raise another $2 million to build that facility. And that is not government funds. That will be Asot Michael and private investment. $4 million EC dollars. And it will be built on the 3 acres of land. Also, the cabinet leased me, I believe, 2 acres of land in Piers. I will also be building a facility. When it comes to Painters, that beautiful pond there, we're going to clean it out, put benches around it, nice palm trees, where the elderly and children can go and watch the birds, sit down on a Sunday and relax. Also, when you're going up to Lightfoot, we are going to have a center for the children. In Fidges Creek, there are other lands, not a lot, in Fidges Creek, that we will make available for the children of Fidges Creek. So no one will be left. No one will be left out this time. I give my commitment to the people of St. Peter's.
You are my rock, you are my pillar, you are the wind beneath my wings.
I could not close without thanking and sending my gratitude out. My heartfelt thanks to my dear beloved mother Josette, who has been more than a mother. She has been a friend. She has been everything to me. And I would like to thank you, Mom, from the bottom of my heart, for you have been a pillar of strength to me. You are indeed the wind beneath my wings. I will always love and care for you. I would also like to thank my 2 sisters, Teresa Ann and Saraya, who have always been there for me. Always. I will never ever forget on my sick bed when I nearly came to death's door 2 years ago, how both Teresa and Saraya stood with me. And I cannot ever forget my second mother, Beverly Clark. Beverly has always been there for me. I love you, Beverly. To my support staff, who are like a family to me, for they are my family. I should not say like, they are my family. To my dear brother Trevor Grissom Watkins, I will never forget you and your entire family and children. To Stephanie Knight, you have been a pillar of strength to me. I thank you, Stephanie, from the bottom of my heart. To Nikki Laville, Angelique Roberts, you have worked day and night. Day and night. Shauna, Mr. Wall Reynolds, the chairman of my branch. And I want to say a special thank you to Mr. Samuel Spencer. Mr. Samuel Spencer, yes, my teacher who taught me at St. Joseph's Academy. He has worked tirelessly, day and night. I say to you, Mr. Spencer, thank you. To Barbara Carr and Mr. Ickford Caution Carr, to Barbara Carr and to Mr. Ickford Ocean Carr, to Jalis, to Caesar, to Biger. I would also like to thank Mr. Andrew Gardner, who has been a tower of strength in my campaign, day and night. Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Thank you, Veronica Greenaway, and all of the persons who have helped me in my campaign. To all of my support staff that have been working day and night, nearly 40 persons. So anyone that I've forgotten, please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for your support. Much blessings to all the people of Antigua and Barbuda. Be safe on election day. Go out on election day and do the right thing. Put your X for the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party in all 17 constituencies.
St. Peter's, are you ready? St. Peter's, are you ready for the action man? Who is the one? Asot. Who is the one? Asot. Who is the one? Asot. The one for St. Peter's. Asot all the way for election day. Asot all the way. Come election day. Asot all the way for election day. Asot all the way. vote for